Hey guys, it's Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Please like, comment, share the videos, and subscribe. And if you have yet to watch our channel here, please dive in. If you love college football, I think you'll like what you see, and then you'll lock it in for the rest of the college football season and beyond, because we do this 24/7, 365. College football season is never over here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. I took in the Pitt win over North Carolina. Entertaining game at Heinz Field tonight. 34-27. No helmet throwing there with another Pitt team involved. But the Panthers and the Tar Heels in the ACC Coastal Division, the worst division in college football, but still fun to watch, maybe the most fun of any division race because it's just mayhem, unless, and we'll get to the scenario at the end of the recap here. Bo Corrales got the Heels on the board first and foremost with the touchdown. He had 5 catches for 92 yards, and you got to catch the first touchdown scored in this game to make it 7-3 North Carolina. Bo Corrales, amazing catch over the defender right there. Pitt was without Maurice French, their leading receiver. They turned to Jacque-Louis. Check him out. He made some huge plays in this game. 4 catches for 104 yards. He had a 74-yard touchdown that was a thing of beauty from Kenny Pickett, who rifled it downfield, threw it about as far as he could, hit Jacque-Louis on stride. He went for 74 yards and the touchdown to make it 17-7 Pitt. Kenny Pickett was running all over the place in this game in addition to his throwing attempts. He has the football in his hands unlike the rest of his career. So he went from game manager, a guy that was mobile, would throw the short passing game. Pitt, between the years of 2015 and last season, this is crazy, was 111th out of 130 FBS teams in pass attempts. We're throwing the ball less than just about anybody in the country between 2015 and 2018. This year, Pitt, with the Mark Whipple offense as offensive coordinator, throwing the ball more than anybody but 6 teams in the nation. They are number 6 in the nation in pass attempts. On this game, Kenny Pickett put it up 41 times, and many of those other times that he ran the ball, he dropped back to pass, so it was a passing call. It was a pass play call, but he took off and ran, and very effectively. The North Carolina running game's in great shape with the 3-headed monster they have of Javonte Williams, Antonio Williams, and the speedster Michael Carter. Antonio Williams had the biggest game on this night against Pitt. 12 carries for 107 yards, including a burst up the middle in which he was caught from behind, but made it all the way down to the Pitt 15-yard line, and they kicked the field goal to make it 17-10. Pitt is the top team in the country in regards to sacks, led by Jalen Twyman, who is 3rd in the ACC in sacks with 9.5. Pitt has 45 sacks this season. They broke a tie with SMU, and they currently, with everybody else playing on Saturday, Pitt leads the nation in sacks, and this basically, their pass rush saved the game. Because other than the pass rush getting to Sam Howell, that's about all that disturbed the freshman. He did make a horrible decision on a red zone opportunity late in the first half in which he threw an interception to Damari Mathis. And I don't know where he thought he was going with the football because there were 4 Pitt defenders in the vicinity. He tried to fit it in on a bit of a fade route and just kind of threw it off his back foot. And that was his horrible decision of the night that got picked off by Mathis and kept the score at 17-10 at the half. Kenny Pickett goes to the sideline. We talked about the dynamics of the passing game and Pitt going from run-dominant offense to pass-happy, and Mark Whipple coming in from UMass as offensive coordinator and throwing the ball all over the field. Kenny Pickett goes to the sideline. The quarterback, this is something that we saw in 1960s and 70s football all the time. Between the plays, Kenny Pickett goes all the way to the sideline to get the call, makes it all the way back to the huddle. A.J. Davis scored a touchdown in this one. Not a big game on the ground, though, for the Pitt rushing attack. 19 carries for 58 yards. They did have a 14-play, 85-yard drive to break open the game at 24-10, or so we thought, because North Carolina has not won a game in 15 years in which it trailed by 14 points. But they came back in this one. Next two North Carolina drives, 11 plays for 74 yards and 3 plays for 57 yards, courtesy Daz Newsome. Daz Newsome cut loose in this game. 11 catches for 170 yards. He and Sam Howell were tearing it up all night. Bo Corrales had more big plays in this one as well. Howell hit on 27 of 43 for 322 yards passing. Newsome caught on this second drive that tied the score at 24. 34-yard reception, 16-yard reception on a 3-play drive that tied the score at 24. Pitt came all the way back down the field with 5 minutes left to play. Alex Kessman with a field goal to make it 27-24 on a 14-play drive for Pitt. More Daz Newsome, although at the end of the drive, it bogged down in the red zone. North Carolina looked like they were going to score the touchdown to win the game or take the lead very late. But the man-to-man coverage for Pitt in the red zone, at least on this series, was exceptional on a few key second, third, and down plays. And then the pass rush got to Sam Howell on a sack. Noah Ruggles hit the field goal. He's now 12 of 14, under 40 yards. And Carolina tied the game at 27. So we went to overtime. Taser Mack in replacing Maurice French. Well, he's not really replacing him. He's the number 2 guy and became the number 1 guy for Kenny Pickett on this night. Had a huge catch among his 6 receptions that Pickett then scored on the keeper in overtime. 34-27 Pitt. Daz Newsome, again, 4th and 4. All they would need to do with Daz Newsome is run a crossing route. His defender could not keep up with him. Newsome caught the 4th down conversion. But Jalen Twyman had a sack to force a 4th and 16. Jalen Twyman, wearing Aaron Donald's number at Pitt, he called for it, said, "I want it, give me 97. And he's top 3 in the ACC in sacks. Final play of the game, 4th and 4, 4th and 16, after the Twyman sack. Howell gets flushed from the pocket. He has to throw off his back foot. He had a receiver in the end zone, but had to try to make a ridiculous throw all the way across the field and underthrew it, and the game was over. So this is what's important. So it was an entertaining game. Pitt wins at 34-27 at home in overtime. The Panthers are now 4-2. The Heels are basically out of it at 3-4. So now, here's the ACC Coastal Division standings heading into Week 12's weekend this Saturday. Virginia's 5-2. This can become very simple. If Virginia wins its finale against Virginia Tech, something that they haven't done against the Hokies in 15 years, if Virginia wins that game, they win the Coastal. They've got the best record. They've only lost 2 games, and they would win the tiebreaker with Pitt. So Pitt's now 4-2. And even if Pitt wins at Virginia Tech next week and then against BC to finish at 6-2, Virginia wins the tiebreaker, going all the way back to the Week 1 win at Heinz Field against the Panthers. So that can take a mess in the ACC Coastal Division and clarify it very quickly if Virginia would win that final game of the season on that Friday after Thanksgiving against Virginia Tech. Otherwise, it becomes messy. If Virginia Tech beats Virginia, then you've got the Cavaliers at 5-3. You've got the Hokies at potentially 5-3, although right now Virginia Tech's at 3-2. They've got a game against Pitt. They've got Virginia. So Virginia Tech is in prime position. They've got to play the 2 teams in front of them, so they can win the division if they win both of those games, and they finish at 6-2. Pitt is hoping basically for a 3-way tie, or to win the head-to-head against Virginia Tech, have Virginia Tech win against Virginia, and then Pitt wins the division at 6-2. Virginia and Virginia Tech would be 5-3. Follow me? Miami needs all sorts of help in this one. They're 4-3, so if they win their finale against Duke, they're 5-3, and they need a logjam in which Miami would win the tiebreakers head-to-head against just Virginia Tech. No, just against Virginia. They beat Virginia, lost to Virginia Tech. They beat Pitt, but most likely there's really no way in which Miami can create a 2-way tie. It's going to be a 3-way tie since Miami's got 3 losses. If there's a two-way tie, it's going to involve those teams at the top that only have 2 losses. So again, focus on Virginia, Virginia Tech. That's the game. If the Cavaliers win it, they win the Coastal and they play Clemson. If Virginia Tech wins over Virginia, then we've got a bit of a mess. But Virginia Tech would have the upper hand against Virginia and against Miami, since they beat the Canes head-to-head. And then the de facto championship game would become the one that we're going to see next week when Pitt takes on Virginia Tech in Blacksburg. But of course, we don't know what's going to happen in the Virginia Tech game. The Coastal's a mess, but it's fun. It's college football, and even though there are no elite teams and it has absolutely no bearing on the college football playoff, I enjoy it, and hopefully you do as well. Right here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. As always, please like, comment, share the videos out there on social media. You've got a social media presence, whether it be on Twitter, Facebook, whatever it is that I don't have. So let people know that we're here, the voice of college football. See you next time.